Hello, everybody. So this Mystic Brew is going to be about Vault 7 and Umbrage, and particularly Umbrage. Um, Vault 7 is the WikiLeaks release of documents, supposedly CIA, and all indications would appear that they are. And one of the things that came out, well, I guess there were two kind of CIA programs, and one is around the smart devices, which is called Weeping Angel. But Weeping Angel is actually old news. People like, well, probably one of the main, I mean, it's been on the internet, but I mean, Alex Jones was covering it, that certain, it was, he doesn't, I don't know, and because he doesn't remember in recounting the story, but it was one of the major cable companies, that, whether it was Comcast, AT, who knows, Roadrunner, whatever. But somebody was putting little microphones inside these set-top boxes that could be enabled. All right. In other words, they could be remotely enabled to record conversations in a living room. All right. It was a possibility. That was in the late 1990s. And then about 2006 is when this, the things, and I think even Samsung, of course, its privacy agreement is pages and pages long. So the fact that they mention it and apparently give it some fair verbiage, that your TV can and probably will be spying on you, or at least recording data that is stored and is used for different things. And the Lionel of Lionel Nation, somebody who I'm definitely going to be doing a Mystic review of, he was mentioning how one time, I guess he had a smart device, maybe a smart TV. Yeah, and that's one of the ones that has a camera and a microphone that you can use. If it's got a camera and microphone hooked up to a web, it's a portal. It's an intelligence portal. And he had mentioned apparently somebody had died, and they were speaking about that. And I don't know if they were going to be attending a funeral, but next thing they know, when they go to like their media devices, there's all this kind of funeral references aimed at them, which is largely what the data being collected is for. I mean, it's largely just trying to get what more money out of your pockets as possible. So, but the data apparently is shared with people who have other than economic interests, or have ways of turning that into their economic interests. But the big one, okay, the big story here is Umbrage. And as soon as I heard that, and especially what it involved, I went, what an appropriate name. Before I kind of dig into that just a little bit, I'm going to read the dictionary.com. There's two definitions of umbrage that I think really apply here. Now, of course, the primary one of umbrage is offense, annoyance, displeasure, basically to piss somebody off. If somebody says something to me that is, that I don't like, I take umbrage with it. All right, so that's offense, annoyance, or displeasure. Now, of course, with what this involves, obviously, if you leave false fingerprints, in other words, if you hack somebody but leave the fingerprints of somebody else, and then somebody finds those fingerprints and blames that, of course, there will be umbrage, and of course, so this is a product of misdirection. The secondary definition, the slightest indication or vaguest feeling of suspicion, doubt, hostility, or the like. Not so applicable. 3, leaves that afford shade as the foliage of trees. So that's for the number. A number has its own meaning, or shade cast by trees. But the last one, the number 5, a shadowy appearance or semblance of something. And that is probably really, it was at the heart of umbrage, is a semblance of something. And what that semblance is that I came and either looked in your house or took something from your house, but I left the calling card of somebody else. So this way here, you get mad at them and not me. So this is what this umbrage is about. And to me, what's huge in this story is because it enables, it's a software that enables the hacker to go breach things, either to get things, or just to make it appear that, or to create the appearance of a breach. And then what they can do is they can actually put whatever IP address, you know, that where it originated from, they can fabricate this. In other words, they can create a false passport. They can, you know, a false document, and leave that document that all hacking leaves something behind, that they were there. And they now have the ability to leave the fingerprints of whoever they want. Because everybody hacks each other, everybody knows each other's protocols, so they just leave the protocols of who they're looking to point the finger at. Boom, we have, you know, now we have trusted intelligence. So what's really at the core of this, to me, is that now when the CIA, you know, and serve at least that part of the CIA, because the CIA has different branches, but that part of the CIA that is obviously working for the New World Order, or the globalists, and wants to sabotage things. And one of their ways, the current things, is the New World Order has managed to make the Russians a boogeyman, even though it's really kind of ridiculous as a concept. But since they have that going, if they can point connections to somebody and Russia, now they have a villain. But now with this release of what Umbrage is, anybody producing and going, oh, look, the Russians did it. And we go, how do we know you didn't do it? Now that we know that you can do this, and since we see the political climate where it would be advantageous to produce this, how can we know that you're not going to produce it because it's what serves the purpose? I mean, why would you have this if that wasn't the purpose? And so now when you're bringing us documentation, go, look, oh, the Russians did it. We have their IP addresses. How do we know that you didn't put them there? And so for me, this is the big wow with this release, where now the various dirty tricks that might try to be played with this geopolitical Russian boogeyman are now, it's all called into question. Even legitimate things have to be called into question because these people have this software. And apparently this software has been given to other intelligence agencies, and maybe even less than intelligence agencies. So the fact that multiple people can do the same thing, people now, if you give somebody a nice piece of software like this, they might owe you a favor. So, you know, you might be able to, you know, so if somebody's going there and they go, and everybody's going, we think you did it, CIA. And they know that he didn't do it. They told somebody else that had it, go, we need a favor. And they can be, you know, they wouldn't even be perjuring themselves. They didn't do it. You know, even if you said, did you issue an order? No, we called in a favor. No, because the legal thing would be, no, we called it a favor. So you can see how, and this comes, another word I have here is lawfare. And so a lot of the narrative, a lot of the dialogue is going to be waged, that is being waged, is lawfare. And that's legal iterations and understandings and even usages, which is why I brought up to 5. There were up to 5 definitions of it. The 3 and 4 are pretty much the same. But 1 and 5 differed considerably, although they had a similar essence. And so anyway, to me, this is the big story. This is not going to be a long video. And, but I mean, I hope everybody knew that anything smart was listening to them. I mean, again, where's my little, how did I misplace it so easily? Where's my little condom here? It's so funny. It's always on my desk. And I slip it over. Oh, here it is, hidden behind my little owl. My little aluminum condom. And because this conforms to the shape of my Logitech webcam. And when I'm done, I just slip it over. And when it's slipped on, this is what you get. So that's what I do. I have my little NSA condom here that I use. And now, and then I found now, so one of the interesting things is that one of the fixes, and now when I read the fix, I thought it was, oh, this is a big duh for me, because I actually work with electronics, and I even had something. So when they were suggesting that one of the ways, so obviously I'm covering my camera, but my microphone's right up there also. That's what I'm speaking into. That's how you're hearing me. And if you notice, my microphone actually works pretty well. So if it works fairly well here, it would be very good in the room. Now I tend to live a very monk-like meditative to disassociated life. So anybody listening into my room, oh my God, what a horrible assignment. But anyway, but they were talking about, like plug in, like a headphone or something like that, and then clip it, because that way, you're into your microphone. Because in a case like this, if I plug in my microphone, it should override it. I can always go into my menu, and I'm astute enough to go in there and make sure that's how it's been fed. But I actually have this little transformer plug. And actually what this is meant to do is to take this, see, this is a stereo plug, which is what your main plug would be. And these are meant to receive stereo microphones. So I'm not sure if plugging in a mono with just one band, that's kind of how you tell the difference, whether there's one or two bands on these things, whether they're stereo or mono. I should have left my mono one on, you can see the difference. But anyway, so this is a converter from a phone stereo that can fit into this larger hole and then convert to the what's known as a little 1/8 inch plug, which is what this is. And so I realized I had this sitting around, so rather than have to cut up a piece of things, I can just plug this in. It's like a dummy plug. That they kind of have, if you have an amplifier that if you don't have it plugged into something, it'll burn itself up, you can use a dummy plug. In which case would look like this. So this is kind of like a dummy plug. And so I'm going to experiment with it later on tonight, but just something I just anything that plugs into that blocks that. And if some of you think, oh, let them hear, I mean, again, this, to each their own. To me, the idea that somebody could flick on a camera looking into my room as I'm moving around, that doesn't work for me. Even as a remote possibility, doesn't work for me. If I had regularly scheduled scannings, I would know when to be mooning my camera. And oh, would I give them such a moon, a proctologist perspective. But I don't know. So I can't arrange that. The old bad boy rock and roller comes out when I think about mooning someone. Oh man, there was some great gusto in my mooning days. That was my pre-holy man days. That was holy man in training by knowing the perditions. So yeah, that's it. And so they had a lawfare, like when President Obama said I didn't order it. I'm quite sure he didn't order it. I'm quite sure he's telling complete lawfare truth or legalese. But I can imagine him going to a briefing and go, so we got any dirt on Trump and the boys? I go, no, we don't. And we go, well, can't we, isn't it available? I had that little NDAA thing I passed. We got a little time here. I got that little NDAA thing passed out. And now any kind of transmissions that come up, or ordinarily an American citizen speaking, would have to be minimized and taken out of the report. But now I have it that all that raw data just gets kind of placed in that out box or a look at box. And before anybody's done the minimizing, so you see all the particulars. So, I mean, again, you wouldn't even have to say that. It's kind of like, gee, no dirt on those guys, man. I mean, isn't it around somewhere? And of course, everybody, oh yeah. Oh, I think we could find that. I think you've enabled us to do that. Next thing you know, here comes this. I mean, again, the loopholes in the story, in the organic fabric of the story, are huge. It's only in the synthetic legal language of it. Although, I mean, again, there's a certain amount of honesty in that. I mean, if again, we're using words, and we should use words with great exactitude. If somebody's saying he ordered it, and they're going to stick with that term. And if that, you know, somebody might come, you know what? Yeah, that term was a little inexact. Let's say it certainly happened with knowledge, and it might have, and we all, again, this is, he was, you know, he was the boss guy, you know, he was the one you want to make happy. And all you have to do, you know, subtle hints, man, you know, the real good ones, the good ones in the rooms, that's how you talk to them. You speak in subtle hints like that. You would do something like, you know, so, okay, what's going on? What's going on with the, with Trump and his guys, you know? Aren't they doing anything squirrely from that group? Well, you know, just asking. Just asking. Guy can ask. You know, I mean, again, there's so many ways through that. But now this story comes out about all this wiretapping. I mean, you know, then on the day of inauguration, what did the Times post? Times Post, wiretap data used in inquiry of Trump aides. Okay, that was a New York Times, January 20th on inauguration day. And then on March 4th, New York Times headline is Trump offering no evidence, says Obama tapped his phones. Oh. That's my alarm that my food is ready, so it's a good way to close down. But they were saying that, you know, no evidence Obama tapped phones. Now again, there's a lot of legalese in here, but you know, on July 20th, they were using as a headline that the wiretap data was used on Trump aides. So again, you know, they really count on the memory hole of people. So something that happened, you know, over a month ago, you know, I mean, who's going to dig out our old headlines? Alex Jones did. Anyway, okay, so that's it for this Mystic Brew, and what's this one? Vault 7 and Umbrage. Hope it was helpful, and please like, and if you haven't subscribed, would like to hear more, please do. God bless you all. My love to you all. Until next time.